What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Wingin podcast. Andre, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Just cooking up some grub, ready to talk about some stuff.
All righty. All right, people, don't forget the BIPOC Streamer Awards, round two voting reminder. Make sure to go to the BIPOC Streamer Awards website and get your votes in. We're in round two now. I think that's going to be ending, I think, sometime in June. So make sure you get your votes in if you have not done that already. So, what you been playing, man?
I actually have been playing some PS2 games as of late because I can now since I got my PS3 Slims have been hacked to the point where you can actually rip your disc to your console
Oh,
and play it. That's what I've been doing. So I've been playing Dot Hack and Shadow Hearts, and a couple other games.
so that's it?
For now, yeah.
No.
Oh well, I did jump back on Tears of the Kingdom and explore more of the depths. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. Mostly PS2 stuff.
Gotcha. I've been playing DNF Duel. Neo, the world ends with you. Jump back into Mortal Kombat One, and jumped in some Smash Brothers this weekend. And if you saw the community tab, me and Shadow did play some Killer Instinct on NSO since we wanted to see how anti-consumer it was, and you know, I mean, yeah. So,
See how much
playing a little
net
bit.
code it lacked.
Yeah, how much rollback netcode it didn't have, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's all I've been playing. Just been trying to relax a little bit, as it were. But first thing on the docket, because this generation honestly has to have been the generation of acquisition. Like these companies got money, dog.
Yeah, they
I
do.
mean, they got money. They've been buying. Oh, but a couple of those companies ain't got nothing to show for it. But yeah,
I mean, there is Team Green that is losing green. But hey,
yeah, basically. But this time, Nintendo announced that it bought Shiver, which is Porthouse, if I'm not mistaken. Um,
yeah,
and so, personally, I think this is a good purchase for them because, if I'm not mistaken, they're the ones that did Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat One and a few others. And
they didn't do Mortal Kombat 1. They did Mortal Kombat 11.
11. Well, who did one then?
I have no clue.
Okay. Um,
But I found somebody because I had checked into that. Somebody corrected it somewhere, and I
okay.
went and looked. Yeah, it wasn't them.
Okay. Well, the thing about that is because it was Warner Brothers, and the rumor was that Warner Brothers was just telling people just to get it out there. I think this actually will help them in the long run because now they can port stuff in house and they can take as much time as they need to
Yep.
get it done properly instead of you know, having to worry about Warner Brothers or somebody else telling them to just put something out and it be of okay, I'm trying to say this nicely, of varying quality. I'll leave it at that. But yeah,
I ain't gonna be nice. It'd be crap.
and there you go. So yeah, I mean,
Send all your hate mail to gvgingu@gmail.com. I don't
but yeah, I think it's a good purchase, and that'll help them out in the long run. Because we have no idea what Nintendo got cooking, which I like that. I like that I don't know. It makes the surprise better when you don't know everything, which I don't understand why people always want to know every little detail. Don't really understand
care.
that one. And they can't say there ain't nothing to play because if there's one thing this generation has taught me is that we got way too much to play because that pandemic did no favors if this
No,
was
it didn't.
how it was going to be anyway. So there is
If
that.
anything, if anything, the pandemic made it worse because everybody got their FOMO got way worse.
Yeah, for real. What's up, Sandstorm, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am making it. What you been playing?
Oh man, what did I just get off playing? Starfield, but I didn't really play. I was just selling stuff. So I was just in the black market. Just,
So you was hustling.
Yeah, pretty much.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 hustling.
With your spaceship.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't nobody want to come at me.
Rick Ross.
I'm like, I got a long beard. They pull up, they're like, we're about to blast it. What is that? What is that? They see the beard. I got a long beard. You don't want to mess with me. They're like, all right, we're going, yeah.
We gonna chill. We gonna chill.
So I've been playing Starfield. Euden Chronicles. I just started up again with that. I feel like, you know how like in RPGs, some of them don't give you like the next chapter, but you can kind of feel like this is probably like the next chapter of the game. I'm at that point, so moved into the next chapter, if you will. And then been playing Diablo 4 because the new season is out and they revamped the whole game. So yeah, that game's been a lot of fun. And I think because they changed a whole lot, I think it's more accessible to the regular audience, or the casuals, if you will. Yeah, it's been pretty good. I'm still waiting for them to. Apparently, this is something I didn't know. So Diablo Immortal, aka the Diablo that nobody ever asked for or wanted, aka the mobile Diablo. Apparently, they have 2 new classes in the game, and I didn't even know that. Probably because I don't play the game, but we're Diablo 4. Like the people who play Diablo 4 are kind of waiting for a new class to come in. And I've been seeing a whole lot of people like talk about some of like the old classes, whether it's the Crusader, because we don't have a designated healer, or the Assassin, because the Druid is already there. So it was like, oh, you got the Druid. Like the Assassin was part of that DLC back when it was Lord of Destruction. But since we're waiting, I'm kind of wondering if one or both of these new classes, which I can't remember one of the classes, it's like it's almost like a Templar, he's got kind of the spear and does stuff that way. But the other one is not a temptress, tempest. So she or he has powers of the water. But if you look at them on the surface, which is what I did, it reminds you of God of War. Like they play and they have like the chains that whip out, lash out, and so you're hitting distant enemies. But every time you hit an enemy, it creates like a water clone of you. So water clone jutsu, and so whenever you attack, they spawn the same attack that you do. So I'm like, okay, I see y'all trying to do a little God of War thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already that, that 3/4 angle, how the original God of War was. And just, with the attacks, and like they even got the little spin with the chains and everything. I see what you did there. So, but we're just kind of waiting for another, and I think that comes with the DLC, but we're waiting for another class. But so far, the game's been pretty good.
But does it have ray tracing?
It does, actually. Do I put it on? No. I don't need that, any of that ray trace. That's a waste. That's a time waster to me. Like especially when you're playing a game where it's about the numbers.
And not exactly the
Yeah, that's a pointless addition.
Hey guys, want to turn on this feature that slows your game down?
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely not that. Well, like you could tell, I think with some people you could tell, like, hey, you got your ray tracing on? What is it? Globe? No, not globe. What's the one that really, really makes everything chug? Is the atmospheric? I can't remember, but like in every game, it's like that specific setting, ambient occlusion. That's what it is. The turning on the ambient, like, yo, you got your ambient inclusion on? Yeah, please turn that off. You're making us lose. You're making us lose right now. Please turn that off.
Bro, you are messing our timing up. Remove this.
All right, so we were talking about the Nintendo purchase of Shiver. So
yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it. So, okay, so I kind of gave my thoughts yesterday when we were. Oh, I didn't even realize I didn't even have this on the screen. That's okay. But yesterday we kind of talked about it a little bit, and so two things. One, I would say, isn't it amazing? I said, isn't it amazing how Nintendo doesn't really go through acquisitions like that? I can only really think of two, really, in these past maybe 5 years compared to the other companies. And every time they go through an acquisition, it's like it's either a like, dang, I thought they were already on your team type of acquisition, or it's like, oh yeah, I see, they did the work type of acquisition. So I think so. Going into that, I think that acquiring Shiver, on the whole, I would say a lot of people kind of knocked the Harry Potter and the Marvel just because of how those games ran. But if you take a step back and actually think about it, Hogwarts Legacy was never meant for the Switch in the first place. So for them to be able to get that game on there and get it on how it was now, albeit it wasn't exactly the same as like the PS5 or the PS4 version, for that matter, it was fundamentally a different game. But they still got a game that wasn't meant for that system to run on that system. With what Shadow loves to throw out too, with the amount of wattage that the Switch has. And then they had the problems with Mortal Kombat, the early bugs or whatever, that situation got fixed. But obviously Nintendo saw something, like, besides a paycheck. Nintendo saw something and was like, okay, this actually makes sense for us to acquire it. With that being said, I feel like this is like the like one of the dopest chess moves that I've seen in recent history. Because the biggest complaint that you hear people that are not Nintendo fans complain about is Nintendo doesn't get any third parties. And they've already stated that there's still going to be a port team. So whenever they want something, or I almost feel like Nintendo might even give them free reign to be like, hey, what do you want to port? And if they're like, that looks good, Dad, they're like, all right, we're gonna go talk to them. We're gonna make that happen. And I think in the sense of like all the like the Square Enix games or the Capcom games, basically any game now, especially I think who said it? I think Exodia might have said it yesterday. Especially like the Western games and stuff like that, like Grand Theft Auto. Those games are not off the table now because they can just be like, Nintendo can walk up and be like, hey, like a pimp, like pimp style, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how much you want for that game though? And they like, ooh, I'm sorry, we don't have the manpower to be able to make this game for you. And we're like, oh, that's okay. Ship, get over here. We got it. and Shiver can handle those. So I think it's definitely a sweet power move, especially when we're coming up to the Switch successor. For them to be able to have somebody in case something like that goes down. Now, does that mean we're gonna get every single game? No. Like
we shouldn't.
No, I feel like
shouldn't be
I feel like for one, Shiver is not like it's not a humongous port team. You know what I'm saying? So they will port what they can and what they think is right, and what they want to jump on there. And I also think too, that, like you said, we shouldn't get all the ports, but the ports that make sense that for some reason aren't coming to the Switch, those are the ones I think we'll definitely start to get, and they'll start to trickle in. And that's also a win. I see it also a win for the third party development companies too, because a lot of times we don't give port companies the credit. We usually give that credit to whoever that game belongs to. So when we were bashing, like Harry Potter, we were bashing or Hogwarts Legacy. When we were bashing Batman, we were bashing Mortal Kombat. Like we were bashing WB for that, but it was actually Shiver who actually worked on the project. So it works in an opposite sense too. So when we get games coming in, we're like, dang, EA finally want to play something, and really it's actually Shiver who did the work. But I think that's a good look on their part too, because then that means they can see that they have an audience for whatever game that whoever's coming through. So the next time that game comes around, or whatever game is similar to that, they can be like, you know what? People bought this. So like, let's take this in our own hands so we don't have to cut a deal with Nintendo on top of the deal that we already trying to cut to be able to make this go through. So I think that was a great chess move, man. I think that was definitely a great chess move.
And also, like, since they have them to themselves, they don't have to worry about WB or anybody else saying, okay, just put the game out.
Yeah.
They can actually take their time and do it right. That was my big thing I took from that.
I think too, I think as well, somebody mentioned this, and I'm still at a hard-pressed no. But somebody was saying that, they probably got this port studio as well, so they can flip it and do it in reverse. So like Nintendo, if they ever decide to put stuff on PC and all that other stuff, Shiver will know the hardware of the Switch and be able to. And I'm like, nah.
Why do people keep trying to go with that? Why do people keep trying to go with that narrative, dude? I do not see them doing that.
My thing is, if you want to bring on a team that is a port team for your hardware, why would you have them port somewhere else?
Right.
I mean, 'cause I know they got to finish out their contracts they have now, but after that,
it's all open season.
Yeah, they should strictly be theirs. That's what I find it funny that PC people want Nintendo games when they clearly pretend like they don't.
Right. And I was under the illusion that most PC gamers only really bought PC and owned a PC and owned whatever Nintendo title it was because they get all their third-party stuff from on the PC.
Yeah, on the PC side, yeah.
And now you get all the Sony, well, not all of them, but you get a lot of the Sony titles.
The main ones at least. Yeah.
And the Xbox titles, all of them. And the only thing that you don't get is Nintendo first party. So that's why you buy, whatever Nintendo product it is. So
that's why I don't understand the complaining.
Yeah. I don't know. Master Race, y'all still got to give something to somebody else. Like, not everything is going to be under one helm.
Yeah. And it shouldn't be like that, because then you'll have you want competition. You don't not want competition. Trust me. As a wrestling fan, trust me, you don't not want competition. So when WWE was by themselves for all them years, it sucked.
Dude. Yeah, definitely did.
So you don't not want competition. Put it like that.
I had a train of thought. Let me get back to it.
Okay.
I mean, I personally, for a few years, was saying that Nintendo just needs their own port team so that we don't run into all the excuses of, we can't do this, we can't do that. So I think them getting Shiver is a good idea, but I think they should get a couple more specifically for porting.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was
saying. They don't just have one team. Just have a few port teams that will work, that know your hardware well enough to take some games and port them.
Don't they already have Grizo? Ain't Grizo
Do they?
theirs?
I don't know if they're theirs or if they just work really closely with them. Because
Yeah, because
That's the thing.
problem. Yeah, the problem is you don't, because that's like with Pokemon Company. People think that they don't own Pokemon Company. They really don't.
No, they don't.
So
And that's so surprising. But I think also that is because there's more freedom with that. Like I feel like Pokemon Company is really harsh on Pokemon Company and Game Freak. But
yeah,
for that, like Nintendo, you don't need 50 bosses coming into your office talking about your TCP reports. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So
But that's why I was like, so they do own Grease. Okay, all right. That was saying like, because I mean, they could do that too if they really wanted to. So I mean, they have a couple options, but I think the only other poorhouse that I know that's actually decent is Panic Button.
Yeah.
Saber Interactive, they too.
Saber is owned by Beacon now, which is kind of unfortunate because I feel like had they stayed with Embracer Group, Embracer is looking to give off I think 3, and that's why Nintendo grabbed one of the 3.
Well, Embracer's trying to sell because they realized that they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they trying to save themselves, and I don't know why they bought all that stuff to begin with. I'm like, dude, you taking on massive debt.
Yeah,
and
a lot.
It's called being greedy.
And they are not a $1 trillion company. So they found out real quick.
1.7 billion. That is quite a lot.
Yeah. That was a lot of debt they did. So I mean, it's all good. I to me that's a plus. So I'll look at it like that.
Yeah. And once again, like with that acquisition, it's not just like, oh, we got a good deal on another developer, because Nintendo could have done that with Panic Button, like you guys said, but it was like they had already had a port, 2 ports like back to back, and Nintendo must have really liked what they seen that they could do with those. So I think the question is, you think they'll ever pick up Panic Button?
Probably down the line.
Because it took a long time too, I feel, for like Next Level to be on that team, did it not? Like,
yeah, it did.
So
it depends if Panic Button wants to be bought.
Right.
Because I was saying years ago, I was like, man, they should just go and buy Platinum, but Platinum didn't want to be bought. They just wanted to work with them. So Nintendo respected it. They're like, all right, cool, we'll just work with you. So
they didn't try to force a hostile takeover.
No.
Right.
So I think if Panic Button wants to be bought, yeah, but that's the other thing too. Like, I think when it comes to Nintendo, they're frugal, so they're not going to be just spending their money. And 2, if that company doesn't want to be bought, they won't buy them. They'll just work with them, and that'll be it until they probably want to be bought, and then they'll probably do it then. So
yeah, because they I mean, if you think about it, like how long of a time did they really have for a chance to buy Shannon, and like that never happened. Yeah. So like, not everybody gets to be on the team.
They just work well with them. Yeah, I still don't understand why they won't do a thing with Shannon to let them make F-Zero.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, Fast Racing showed me they could do it. So,
and then they turn around.
I look at it. I look at the Shannon. Look at the Shannon situation is they realize that a lot of people say they want F-Zero, but they don't actually want it.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is sad.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Yeah. All right, so moving on to my next thing that I found this just had me thinking a little bit. So this is a 2-part question. Do you believe Square Enix is bringing the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise to Nintendo's successor, or is it still going to be the cloud version? That's the first part.
I
Because
mean,
it's rumored that KH4 is going to be multiplat, and that in that same rumor is it's coming to the successor system.
So I will say that I am going to say that yes, that it's not going to be a cloud version. And the only reason why I say that is because, well, okay, let me put it this way. If Square Enix was smart, it would not be the cloud version because the cloud version didn't really sell that well for the original Switch. With that being said, I think that it's not going to be the cloud version, and that Square Enix also talked about how all of the games they were trying to spread them out, like not just Kingdom Hearts, but like all of their franchises. They're kind of realizing like it's kind of a mistake to just keep to Sony for all this stuff. So like they're spreading it out as far as they can. They had that surprise that Kingdom Hearts was coming to Steam. So would it be surprising to me if a trilogy came out on Switch for Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 4 came to Switch? No, I don't think so. I also think that by Nintendo having shit in that also doesn't really matter at this point. But I think that yeah, I I just hope I hope they've been learning some lessons because it sounds like they're really like slow walking them.
I don't think it's slow walking. They pretty much have straight out said they're not doing the BS they were doing the past two gens because they've been bleeding money.
Yeah.
And the first big mistake they made was not putting the Kingdom Hearts thing on Wii U.
Yeah.
When they had the chance, Kingdom Hearts remake should have been on Wii U. You put all the handheld games that sold better on DS and 3DS as opposed to PSP and Vita. And I'm sitting here looking at them like you can't put this collection that fan base is on that system. You can that will make money if you make sure it's on there. And then the Switch comes along, and from what I understand, 3 didn't meet sales expectations either. So now you even more in the red, and now you don't bring a physical. You say, "Oh, we'll give it to you cloud," and on top of giving it to you cloud, you got to pay $90 for it. You done lost your ever loving mind, dude.
Yeah,
completely.
And also too, I mean that, and to mention that 3 was probably by far one of the worst development cycles for.
Yeah, that was over 10 years.
Yeah, and 2 in a revamp too, because they had to change out the whole engine.
They tried to use the Luminous engine and it didn't work.
Yeah, so that's kind of telling. It's still so funny to me that your own engine is the engine that you having trouble with. Like that you created that engine, and that's the engine you having trouble with to get games on. It's like
15 in KH3. 15 in KH3.
Like what?
Like, wow. Wow.
Man. And I think they pushed so hard to get what's the game that I ended up liking that Forspoken.
Forspoken, yeah.
They probably went through another similar situation where it was like, we can't do this again. We can't go back to Unreal again. Like we can't. We just.
And they didn't have no choice. They had to. They had no choice. Like, bro, your engine you made don't work.
Right.
What you wanted to do.
That's so sad. Like that's so wild to me.
And they just kept bleeding the money. So the second part of this question is, okay, why? And I found this to be funny when I heard people getting mad. Why do some gamers get pissed off mad when the game gets ported to another system years later? Like you already bought the game, they already got your money.
Right.
Why are you upset?
Because they didn't realize that it was a timed exclusive and not an exclusive. It's ridiculous either way.
Yeah.
I don't understand it either. Um, especially if that game was not a first party game. Like
Yeah.
I can understand a little bit on first party games. So like you have like the PlayStation or whatever. And let's talk way back when, and you found out that Spider Man was coming to the PC and Ghost of Tsushima. I would be a little upset because it's like, dang, like these are the reasons why I bought this system for like this exclusiveness. But if like I own another system that can do that and do it better, like why am I paying out? That kind of bothers me. But when it's like a third party game, nah. Like if Street Fighter 6 was exclusive this year and then next year it comes to another system, I'm like,
Cool.
good job. Like
Yeah.
that's what's up. Y'all gonna be behind on these sticks, but that's cute. That's what's up.
Well, my thing is like for instance, like you was explaining with on Spider-Man, if you're upfront about it, I don't think anybody should get mad.
No.
The problem is, I think like some of these companies ain't upfront, but that's why I give props to Microsoft for just being like, look, we got a Game Pass PC, so anything we got is gonna be on there too. They told me head up. Sony still be like, oh yes, this is gonna be exclusively for PS5, and in real small print, also PS4 Pro and PC. Like, there's a bunch of games that's like still on PS4 as well as PC, like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Yeah, it's on PS5, but in real small print, it was on PS4 because I have it on my PS4. Runs fine.
Yeah, look, they just want you to think you have to get a PS5 for it.
Right.
Yeah. I've always found it to be funny to me because I'm like, dude, I remember watching some of those state of play, and he's like, did y'all not see the small print where it said available on PS4? Like, why they acting like it's only on PS5? And,
right.
Yeah. So it would always be funny to me that they would do that, but people would turn around and then get pissed off, mad, and I'm like, you still have the ability to get the game, even though you have it on this. So why are you that? You shouldn't be that upset. In my opinion, you shouldn't be that upset.
No.
Yeah, you shouldn't be that upset, in my opinion. But I just find that funny, especially hearing about this whole thing with Kingdom Hearts, because like we've said, the Kingdom Hearts remix stuff should have been out the first time they did it.
Yeah.
Like that should have been for them to do a cloud version and then expect people to pay like more. You're like, you must have I don't know. I don't know what y'all
smoking. Y'all lost y'all with.
Yeah. I don't know what y'all smoking, but this ain't it. Like yeah, so I mean it's kind of like the whole I liken it to the whole Dead or Alive season pass situation on Dead or Alive 5 and Dead or Alive 6, a $90 season pass when the game came out at $60. Y'all crazy.
Wild, right?
I'm not buying that. Break that up. I'm not buying that. But no, they expected people to buy it at launch. They like, no, this season pass is $92.
Well, you ain't consistent enough for me to pay that.
Yeah, right. You just ain't. So, I'm good, bro. I'm good. My G, So, yeah. So I just thought that was funny. All right. So, moving right along. Got a question for you, Andre.
Why am I single though?
Because it's your turn. Do you think gaming going somewhat mainstream has hurt the hobby or helped it?
A little bit of both. Hurt because we got too many people that follow just trends for gaming and they won't expand their palette, so to speak, to other stuff, which ends up having us stuck with a bunch of the same games that look the same, sound the same, feel the same. Protagonist is basically the same, just with a slightly different name.
All right.
Mm-hmm. True.
But that also, with that, it did bring in a lot more money for the industry. A lot more people got jobs. A lot more people got interested in gaming, a lot more indie developers cropped up from that, with people who actually do have new ideas, even if they don't sell as well as some of the major large titles. So I mean, it hurt, but it also helped.
Okay. All right, Sandstorm, same question.
So I'm not gonna get into the particulars of what we talked about yesterday, but I will say on a general surface, um, I agree with Andre. It hurts because casuals put in the thing about casuals is like that's what the the third party companies especially feel like they need to get and embrace in order to really get those sales and stuff like that. So they do it by any means necessary. And so one of the trends is to use uh, the woke imagery to in order to fit those sales. And I that to me really hurts gaming because it pushes it into a category that's more geared and narrative to the casual consumer in an entirely different way than the Wii was for casual. An entirely different way. Um, it just means the checkbox. You know what I'm saying? Like we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. Now go ahead and get your $5 million yacht as opposed to your $4,950,000 yacht. So I think that's the bad part about it. But the good side of that is in retrospect, I thought one of the worst things that could happen, especially I think this was during the seventh generation, going into the eighth generation, is we lost a lot of those weird companies.
Yeah,
McLean, Midway, and that was kind of a detriment going into the eighth generation and sliding into the ninth. But like Andre said, what we've gotten in return is indie developers and not having to be worried about a certain number that they have to hit or certain marks. These are like authentically real developers who want to make like fun and great experiences and stuff like that. So essentially, they've kind of slid into the new third party without being like the AAA, which is great. I think that was something that is the probably the best thing about gaming now, um, especially because if you look at games like he said, like all the same games that you get, you know, all the Call of Duties that you're getting, the Assassin's Creeds that really aren't that much different, from your Maddens to your 2Ks, like the rinse and repeat games. If you don't really care for those type of games, there's indie developer games that could like hit that sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a Cruise in USA. You know what I'm saying? We got what's the game that Shadow can't put down?
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage. So we're still getting those like great quality games for like as like the third party sense. That's still really good. So I would say overall, they really haven't helped. They've actually in ways made it a whole lot worse. But at the same time, there has been good that's definitely come out of it.
Yeah, I do think the influx of money has kind of helped, but I also think that there are people who have gotten into gaming that to me they trying to find the right words to say this. Their intentions aren't good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, most of those investment dudes, look, they don't care. We saw it with Cyberpunk.
Hmm.
They made Cyberpunk come out early, knowing that game wasn't ready, and CD Projekt Red didn't want to do it, but they
Yeah.
didn't have no choice. Then you have people like our good buddy Neil Druckmann.
Mhm.
The less I say, the less I say, the better. But it's situations like that where you have like people who come in and like, okay, they wouldn't take my script in Hollywood, but I'll just turn it into a game
Mhm.
and then try to do that and come in that way. And I'm like, okay, dude, no, because gaming, to me, gaming was never meant to be cinematic on a movie level.
Mhm.
Like, I understand what people say when they want like cinematic experiences, but not on a movie level. A video game budget should never be the same as a movie level budget because one, they're too different. They're two different industries. The movie industry has way more fans than gaming does. I say this all the time. There are 8 billion people on this planet. And the Switch has sold 141 million units.
And literally everybody bought a console twice.
So you do the math on that. Like, it ain't supposed to. No video game is supposed to bring in-game numbers.
Right.
They're not. They're supposed to be like evergreen stuff. Like, it still makes money years down the line. So it's one of those situations where I think, yeah, it did help a little bit as far as money, but then we lost a lot of creativity. Like, we lost EA Tiburon, we lost Midway, we lost, the true Vicarious Visions, not the
fake
Vicarious
one.
Visions. Yeah, this out now.
The fake.
We lost all those acclaim, like those guys. And people laughed at Iwata when he said, he's like, look, man, this this model is unattainable, and we haven't even scratched the surface of what we can do with everything with the stuff that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And time has proven him right on so many levels. So yeah, I like it. Plus, all these controversies that we've been having would not have been around if some people wasn't,
right.
Right. It's just one of them situations. I would bring some of the controversial people's name up, but I don't want to give them power, so I'm not going to do that.
It's funny too that because we kind of, you're a little bit older than I am, but you grew up in the same set of generations of gaming and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's crazy because when we, even back in like the PS1 64 days, watching cinematics and stuff like that. What?
Can me and Craig have the last fours cookies?
Yes. Sorry. But back in the PS1 days, like with the 64 and the PS1, watching the cinematic, like the cutscenes and stuff like that, like those, I wouldn't have mind if gaming stayed like that more or less. Like just to have you're going about your game or whatever, you get a cutscene like that, like it's a beautiful style, but then you kind of go back into the game that way. Now gaming narrative has completely changed, right? Like you don't get a full, what do they call that?
FMV.
FMV. Yeah,
like
you don't
a full CG sequence.
Yeah,
which costs way more.
Yeah, and even I would even say even some of those games, they don't even switch over in styles. You know what I'm saying? Like what you're playing as now, when you go into a scene or something like that, is the same exact scene. Like if you think of like Breath of the Wild, like nothing really visually changes between your gameplay style and the cutscene styles. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of Ganondorf blowing up the whole world. But outside of that, so like I say all that to say, like had we evolved the cinematic scenes and just kept it kind of like the same formula in that aspect, I think gaming would have been way off better. But unfortunately, I was one of those young people who was like, I can't wait for video games to look like this all the time.
Yeah.
This, you could go here, you could do that. Do you see how his mouth is moving and he's talking? I want that.
Yeah, because when that stuff first started happening, because I'm a fan of art, so I like different art styles. When they started showing 7 Gen when like beads of sweat on like NBA players. I'm like, this is bad. Like this is bad. I play video games to get away for a couple hours a day. I don't play video games to go right back into reality.
Right.
That's crazy to me. Like it shouldn't be like that. But once again, and I go back to this. When it was Sony, Sega, and Nintendo, gaming was better off.
Oh yeah, it was helpful.
When Microsoft got into it, that's why when people be praying for Microsoft's downfall, I'm like, be careful what you wish for. We already did this. We already did this dance once. Be careful what you wish for, because they prayed on Sega downfall. Sega dies. Guess what happens? We get Microsoft now. Microsoft is handing out blank checks,
right?
And we in the situation we in now. You know, where Sony decided, hey, we can keep up with them. No, you can't. You ain't got Microsoft money. Yeah, we do. No, you don't. Yeah, we do. No, you don't.
Right.
Then they found out the hard way they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it's one of those situations. Like, I think, and that's why I'm happy Nintendo said, to hell with y'all. We're gonna do what we do, because they tried to play the power game. They did it in 6th Gen. The GameCube was more powerful than the PS2. It was a little bit under the OG Xbox. And third party made excuses. They made excuses. So I'm like, they're not going to do that again. Oh, yes. My sources tell me that they're going to be on power to PC. No, your sources didn't tell you that.
Right.
They're not going to do that, because that's not going to. They've already played the power game once and people made excuses for it. So why would they do that again? That's a bad business move on their part. They're at their best when they're unpredictable.
Yeah. And question too, do you ever remember Nintendo doing like a FMV at all? Because I don't ever remember
Not
them.
Nintendo. Not themselves. No.
Yeah, I don't.
It was all in game.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It
I was
was always
about
in
to say.
game.
That is their style. Like I don't ever recall them doing FMV. You know what? I don't even know if I ever recall them doing a cinematic.
I think that's why people have such a big problem with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom story-wise, is because of the way they set their games up. Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they have cutscenes, but it's
no different than the real
in the past. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where if you like stuff like Xenoblade or Final Fantasy from a storytelling perspective, you should not go into a Zelda game thinking you're going to get that. Just play those games, because Zelda's going to have their own thing.
And even in Chronicles X, you don't really even get.
No,
like, you get
it's in game,
but they're all in game.
They're all in game. Everything Monolith does has been in game.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why I say it's always like it's open world ish, because in a Monolith game, the game doesn't open up till you beat it. So it's not fully open world until you beat it. Like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is fully open world from the get-go. You just go.
Yeah. Hipsters, tennis I guess counts, but no, not even Eternal Darkness, even those
Eternal Darkness
scenes are in game.
That was in game, yeah. That wasn't FMV, that was in game.
Or they didn't cinematic or FMV anything. That's why it's so crazy, is that no, they didn't. No, I was gonna say even they may have had one scene, but they didn't. All of it was all in game. So
all of that was in game, because like even the intro to Eternal Darkness, when you're going through and when you meet the cop outside, it goes straight into gameplay.
Yeah.
So
that's wild, and that's probably why they save money.
Yeah, because I think there was a chapter, either it was the Persia chapter or the chapter after that, where it did kind of look like it, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it does like a
weird. Yeah, I think it was the Prince, the Persia chapter, because that was the Prince, and it was like when they were doing the desert crawl. When he spoiler alert for a 23-year-old game, when he finds out the chick that he was simping for died.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. And she's sitting on the side.
And she's just sitting on the thing, and and they did it with the whole sand thing.
They basically put a filter over it.
Yeah. This is kind of like what they did with Metroid Prime, with a couple of scenes in Metroid Prime in the original one. So yeah, yes, Geist was all in game as well too. Yeah,
She did him
Ugh,
so.
I miss Geist. I wish that they would redo that. So
do you
bad.
think it'll sell though if they did it?
If they presented it the right way, yeah.
Because it was a cool game, but at the time, dude, Eternal Darkness had my whole being at the time when I was thinking about picking that one up. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, dude. I got this
Yeah.
Eternal Darkness. I got to,
Eternal Darkness was great.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for any of y'all too young to play that, to have experienced that game, man, you can never. It would never fundamentally work the same way as right now.
Yeah. Imagine Phasmophobia, but with an actual story.
Yeah.
That's a
Dead
way
by
to
Daylight.
look at it.
Or Dead by Daylight with an actual story.
No, I wouldn't say Dead by Daylight. Dead by
What?
Daylight is just a bunch of people
There's-
trying to run around and survive.
But there's a couple of chapters in there where you do have to run around and survive.
Yeah.
Remember, I think it's the chapter before the end of the game where they start coming for it in the mansion.
Yeah, they all coming out the mansion. You
Yeah,
like, bro, what? Is there anywhere safe?
Like,
No.
No, there's not. They all want you.
Everywhere you think.
You better
You
get that
sitting
shotgun
there-
and book it.
You sitting there trying to cast every kind of spell you can, and they always do. You like, man, just back up. Give me a second. Dang, ain't no magic on this gun.
Just let me breathe for 2 seconds, please.
You better make sure that insanity meter topped off, because if it ain't, you gonna quit.
And you going crazy. Got the whole screen turned sideways.
Your
Dang,
body
man.
like,
Come on.
so yeah, I mean that is one game I would love for them to like remaster.
If they could figure out a way to,
But
make
it does
that
need some quality
modern.
of life. It needs some quality
Yeah.
of life changes though. It does.
Yeah, because that game actually is infamously known to be broken. You can break the game.
Yeah, it's easy.
If you don't collect something that's like earlier in like the early chapters, by the time you get to that same area with a different character, and you have to pick up said items in the earlier chapter, if you didn't
You gotta
pick them
restart
up,
the whole game.
you have to start the whole game over. It won't let you go back, chapters to replay that chapter. You have to start the whole game over. I think I messed up one time, and it might have been my third time, the third run through. And I was like, dang, I forgot.
You gotta do it.
Yeah,
Because you gotta do it 3 times to get the true ending. Because the fourth, that's when you fight the real god in the 4th run. So yeah, you gotta redo it 3 times. So if you don't pick it up, because it's that thing that the Roman guy has. If you don't pick it up at the beginning,
you got to start the whole game over. I think that was a misstep on their part, but
you got to remember back then you didn't patch a game 3 months after.
right.
Once it was out there, that was it.
Yeah. It was out there, it was out. so yeah, I mean, and that's another thing, because on the subject of remakes or stuff like that, there is so I'm a fan of Capcom's beat 'em up from the 90s. And one of my favorites was X-Men Mutant Apocalypse. Why did somebody have full gameplay of X-Men Mutant Apocalypse on Switch this weekend? I'm like, I want this game so bad. I'm like, Capcom, throw your boy a bone, and because they put out the the beat 'em up compilation.
Collection. Yeah.
Do another one with like X-Men and all the just do another one with those.
Just tell just tell Disney, I don't care what you think about me. I'm still gonna do it anyway. If you want this money, or we going for a lawsuit? I don't care.
Well, my thing is like, it's easy money.
It is.
So I don't see why Disney would say no.
Especially
Disney
for the fact
too.
that
They greedy.
Especially for the fact that it's X-Men and you just had 97 come out. So
and people are claiming, because people, what was the first thing people said? Hey man, we're gonna get Street Fighter versus X-Men 97.
Yeah.
As soon as episode 10 dropped, X-Men versus Street Fighter 97, run it back. Like,
yeah. That's easy.
That's easy money, man. That is so easy money. All right, Dark Sun, we'll catch you later.
See ya.
But yeah, I was sitting back and I was thinking, because yeah, y'all know, massive X-Men fan. They had a lot of good games in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I love yeah, RJ, they did. X-Men Legends. The second one was the Apocalypse game. Konami, Capcom made Mutant Apocalypse for the SNES. I forgot who made Blood Ties for Genesis. I don't know who made Blood Ties for Genesis. That might have been Konami. But Activision made the X-Men Legends games 1 and 2, and the second one was Apocalypse. That game was fun too. That's another one that need to be on the remaster list.
Yeah.
I say remaster list because I got my GameCube controller. I'm good.
Right.
I can run with it. I got my GameCube controller, bro. I'm good on that. But yeah, I was just sitting back thinking because I was like, dude, those games were a lot of fun, and it would be interesting to see. Because I know, like with some of those games, it would be a licensing issue. Like a lot of the Capcom beat 'em ups, it would be a licensing issue because they pretty much had Marvel on lock.
Right.
I don't see them just like because I was surprised they let all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games come through, but Konami was good with that, so that's why that was able to go through with that collection. But I was like, why don't we have the X-Men, any of the X-Men stuff from the 90s? Because I would love to get Blood Ties and Mutant Apocalypse.
Man,
y'all already covered RJH's comment, or was that what Joe was talking about?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say, yeah, the Konami X-Men game was the X-Men arcade game. Mutant Apocalypse was on.
That was that game, man.
Yeah, Mutant Apocalypse was on Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that was Capcom. Who did Blood Ties? Because that wasn't Capcom.
That was not Capcom. I don't even think. I think that might have been Acclaim.
Okay, because Blood Ties was on Genesis. Mutant Apocalypse was on Super NES.
Yeah, so I don't think Capcom at all did Blood Ties. So let me just check real quick, just to be safe.
Because I know there was another game on Game Gear. But that game was notorious for draining that battery.
Oh man, you talking about the one where they in the
one that had Bishop on it.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of that one.
I had that game.
You'd have the freshest AA batteries. Them things would only last an hour.
Yeah, eat right through them. I feel like for whatever reason, I feel like my Game Gear lasted a long time. But I really want to say I only had a handful of Game Gear games because batteries was atrocious, man.
Yeah.
Six batteries.
And it wasn't no lithium back then. It wasn't no lithium and extended, and there wasn't no rechargeables.
No. And that's what's so wild because they didn't even come up with a rechargeable, like, because the things were behind the things. They didn't even come with a rechargeable grip or nothing like that. Like. Man, I think maybe after the first 3 months, that was when my mom was irritated. Like, can I get some more batteries? For what? For my Game Gear. Oh no, we're gonna have to get you a wall plug or something. Like, that's not gonna happen. We're not doing this.
Meanwhile, the Game Boy batteries never died.
Right.
Well, they did, but they did so sparingly. You could last 3 months on one pack of AA's.
And all you have to do is that magic rub. Right on the back of it. Come on.
Or
don't die on me.
Throw them in the freezer.
As we did over here, is throw them in the freezer and let them self-charge.
Yeah.
Man, the stuff we had to figure out how to do, boy. The stuff we had to figure out how to do.
And I'm trying to figure out the game isn't called Blood Ties, so I'm trying to remember which X-Men game specifically it's related to. But if it was on Genesis, it might have been Sega.
Okay, because it was on Genesis. It wasn't on because they came out at the same time.
Yeah, then
Apocalypse came out.
Then that would have been Clone Wars because I think Clone Wars is the one that was related to Blood Ties.
Then Blood Ties must have been on Game Gear then, because that was the one with Bishop on it.
Oh, then yeah, that was the Game Gear one.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Sega did that themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. So X-Men Mutant Apocalypse and the Punisher, the one with Punisher and Captain America.
Yeah, you mean Nick Fury?
No, it was Punisher. It was the Punisher game, but Captain America was in it on a couple of levels. I know.
Oh yeah. He appears in the background.
Yeah.
I was thinking Punisher and Nick Fury is the one I remember.
Yeah, because the Punisher and Nick Fury game I had. I liked that game. I still got that. That game was fun. Because because the only game that I didn't like, but I played all the way through because some of it there were a couple of levels that were actually broken, and that was Paint the Town Red, Maximum Carnage.
Oh yeah.
That game.
The Super NES version with the red cartridge.
Yeah.
See, I guess I was blessed because I had the Genesis one with the red cartridge.
Yeah.
So mine didn't break on me.
It was a couple levels in there where all hell broke loose, and it would slow down to a crawl, and halftime wouldn't work. You had to go back into it. So
yeah.
Game Master's Legacy. That was the game.
Oh, Arcade's Revenge was another good one too.
That now, yeah, Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge.
Arcade's Revenge.
That's
you know what? Now that is a character I would love for them to bring into live action. Arcade.
It would be so easy too. That's the bad part.
Yeah. Like he's somebody I would like to see because that dude was crazy. That dude was crazy.
I mean, look, you had a man that went after the X-Men as a whole.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man.
And almost got him.
he almost took them all out.
Took them all out. I'm like, geez, this dude's off the chain. I don't know why they stopped using that character, but I love that character. Like that character, him and Mojo were two of my favorite odd characters.
Because they don't know how to use him. That's the problem.
Like Mojo is basically Mojo you should only use for comedic stuff. That's where he works best. When you try to make Mojo serious, it don't work.
Yeah, Mojo's good. Mojo's basically
he's an evil executive producer.
Pretty much. And he runs an illegal gambling ring.
Yeah, he's an evil executive producer. That's all he is. Like,
yeah.
Imagine
man is literally plugged into multiple TVs to be able to watch and see what's going on.
I like he literally kills his actors if the ratings go down. But the way he does it is hilarious. So people don't have a problem with it because it's funny. I'm like, bro, So Arcade's Revenge, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'm surprised that nobody's put X-Men the arcade game on their shops. Because you would have thought that's once again Disney easy money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm really thinking Disney.
It's Disney
being funny with their money.
If Disney was not involved, you would see those games return.
Right.
Especially Capcom.
Yeah.
All the X-Men and Marvel games that Capcom made. Come on.
X-Men versus Street Fighter. You mean to tell me X-Men versus Street Fighter wouldn't sell on everybody's storefront? Please. Please. People would be begging limited games for a damn physical version.
I'm starting to believe that Disney got the same beef with Capcom that DC got. This shit don't make any sense.
Probably. My thing is, I'm just like, if I'm Disney, especially right now with the hit they taking PR wise, I'd be like, look, y'all want X-Men games? Hey, Capcom, get them on the phone, release them, and hang up. That's all I'd be. Release them and hang. To everybody, we getting everybody money. We getting 10% off top, like, because that's what I do. I mean, why not? I mean, look, we all know Capcom is allergic to money, but I don't think if they let somebody else do it like Way Forward, they'll be all right with it.
Capcom is allergic to money, but they ain't allergic to work.
Yeah, so essentially, yeah. But chat, what y'all think? Y'all think they should bring back those side-scrolling beat 'em ups? Let us know, because I have my personal favorites, but yeah.
Absolutely.
I would definitely shoot. I would bring back X-Men Mutant Apocalypse and Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems immediately.
And Children of the Atom, and Next Dimension, and
the list goes on.
Yeah, the list, because I would capitalize off of X-Men 97. I would capitalize off that.
This would be the perfect time to release all those games.
Yeah, ride the wave, especially coming into the summer.
And I would hit Sega up for all of the X-Men games that they made. Mm-hmm. If I was the one in charge at Disney, I would hit up all the companies that are still in existence that had something to do with the X-Men, and just drag all those games together in one compilation
time, baby. Compilation time, baby. We are riding this wave, and then on top of that, we will announce a new X-Men versus Street Fighter, but it'll be Street Fighter versus X-Men 97.
Yeah.
And this time we ain't gonna have Akuma. We'll have like Cammy.
She was in there anyway.
Cammy wasn't in the first one, was she?
Yes,
I thought it was just Akuma.
Cammy was in there.
Well, who was? Kanu was.
If you talking about Children of the Atom, it was just Akuma. But if you talk X-Men versus Street Fighter, Cammy was right there.
I thought it was just
because they had her.
Oh, it was. Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
I know that character screen layout is in my head.
Yeah. Children of the Atom, yes.
Let's say Children of the Atom, Marvel superheroes, and then go right into the other games.
Yeah, because I would call them Activision X-Men Legends 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Like and
just get them all.
Just get them all. Like I would ride this wave right now because, like I said, Disney needs all the damn good PR they can get, and this will go a long way with giving them some good PR.
Yeah, they need it.
I'm like, dude, X-Men 97 blew up, and y'all ain't gonna capitalize off that, bro. I would have been on the phone. I would have been on the phone when episode 5 hit.
Actually, you know what? The bad thing is, they could call it the X-Men 97 collection.
Yeah, they could.
They could literally just call it that, even though the games wouldn't be any different.
Yeah. Right.
Because what X-Men Children of Atom was what, 96?
Yeah.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter was either 95 or 96.
X-Men vs. Street Fighter I think that would have been 98.
When was the arcade though? Because the
Marvel Superheroes came out before X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
So that was 97 then, right? Yeah. Okay, all right. Because I know it's something. Because I was like, it was a string from like 94 to like 99 of just game. They had like 2 or 3 games a year coming out.
And actually, a couple of those could have came out in the same year, and we wouldn't know because they did the same thing with Street Fighter.
Yeah,
where you had Street Fighter 3 come out, and then in the same year, Street Fighter 3 Second Impact.
Second Impact came out. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why in the same year?
Interest, that's a good question. I think about that all the time.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can think of that would have changed if certain things were different. And J2 hit Children of the Atom was 94. So then that would have made Marvel Superheroes 95. And
so that's right.
X-Men versus Street Fighter would have been 96. Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter would have probably been 97.
97.
Then 98 was Marvel vs. Capcom.
Because 2000 was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right?
Yeah, because I think they might have skipped a year then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, I was right. 94 to 99, early 2000 was like 2 or 3 games a year.
They was dropping them. They was dropping a lot of them, and then and that was also on top of them dropping Street Fighter and Darkstalkers and a couple other different games that they were dropping at the time. So yeah, they had a lot of stuff.
Because remember that original X-Men animated series, like when that thing blew up in like 93, because I think people watched the first season was like, it's all right, and they got that renewal for the second season, and that's when people just jumped on.
Mm.
And at that point, that's when we just started seeing game. I'm like, okay, all right.
And they had games through multiple different companies.
Yeah. So that was because what was it? Mutant Academy was that should have been 2000 or 2001.
Somewhere in that area, yeah.
Because Next Dimension, the Bastion one was like 2002 or 3, because that was right before I graduated college. Because that's what I was like. The game was ugly, but the gameplay was amazing.
Hipsters, I don't want to think about that. The second part of that statement, man. The second part of that statement.
Oh yeah, no, dude, yeah.
No.
Like, I think everybody would love to know what would happen if Microsoft didn't buy Rare and Rare would have stayed, and the Stanford Brothers wouldn't have took the check. But that second part, don't nobody want that.
Nobody want to know what that would have looked
like.
They would be around.
It's like we don't need Origin on nobody's console.
Yeah.
No.
I would say they would be around today, but I don't know. I think they might have both been down together.
Yeah.
Nintendo would be like, why did we ever make that move? Why did we ever make that move? Why? Why did it?
Because Nintendo would be right now fighting to get them separated from their network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would. Yeah.
everything would be so heavily entangled. They'd be like, "Can we just get our Mario back?" Well,
No,
You have Mario advertisements on Origin and on.
that's my Mario pump.
yeah, like we really actually own Mario, but do you now? Because I don't think you do. Like,
Basically.
I don't think. But looking at this online infrastructure, you really don't. You really just gave us everything. They got everything, everything.
Pretty much.
Have they contract had a little thing in a little tiny print thing in the back and the bottom of it. When you sign this, we now own your whole catalog. We're like, God, no. Mm-mm.
Anything that touches online is sole property of EA. But like, dang, but like, we didn't really put it online. But the infrastructure is connected to the online service. So really you did. Like, oh no.
The only positive thing I could think of that may have come out of that is that Miiverse might actually still be around.
Yeah.
That's about it. But then again, it might not be the Miiverse that we knew.
Oh no, it would definitely be a different Miiverse.
Yeah.
So,
You got to pay for coins to unlock certain suits and all that. That was one thing I love about Miiverse. You didn't have that. Like,
Well, and I think that was one of the reasons, because that to me was one of the reasons that the Wii U pretty much failed. Because at that point, that's because EA changed their entire tune in the span of like 6 months. I'm like, y'all was just praising it.
I mean,
on stage at E3, y'all were on stage beside Iwata praising it, and then 6 months later, it's garbage and it's not good. Like, something ain't right. And then that rumor came out, and I'm like, oh, y'all just butthurt. Y'all just butthurt because they told y'all no.
Y'all mad because the prom queen didn't want to marry you,
basically. And the way Miiverse was set up, it shouldn't have been like that anyway. Like, they weren't going to integrate with nothing. It was their own ecosystem, which is why I'm like, they should bring it back, because I don't like X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I'm like, this was way better. It was its own thing, and they can't say they don't have the money. They sitting on.
They got plenty of money to do it.
They got $14 billion in cash in the bank. We ain't even talking about assets, just straight up cash. So they can't say they ain't got the money to support it. They do.
Yeah, we know y'all got the money, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Don't lie to us.
So I'm like, they should go back into doing that. That's one thing I'm hoping. With them stopping supporting X, that's what they're moving back around to.
I really hope they are.
And doing it their way.
And then they have their own
app
and ecosystem that supports everything that they're trying to do.
Yep. Yeah. So
the Twitter API was never the best idea anyway. And I hope they drop the Facebook one, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. Well, here's the funny thing that I found funny. Like, people would complain about that during the Wii U, but if you actually went on there, you could share it to Miiverse, Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr. So
there was a lot of sites you could share to from the Wii U, as long as you went to the site with the web browser.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though, outside of that, when you clicked on the share,
it automatically had those lined up.
It had them live, so I'm like, you could already do that to Twitter. Why are you complaining? Mm-hmm. Then I realized it was
people didn't buy it.
Yeah, that's what I realized. It was the people that didn't buy the Wii U. They were just complaining to complain.
Like it had the APIs for those services built in, but you could also share directly to any image sharing website during its run.
Yep. The only thing I would say I would want them to do also, as far as the screen share is concerned, stop with the 720 and go to 1080.
Right.
With these images, like,
or at least let you pick it.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Like let the user decide what quality level they want.
Yeah, I mean, we shouldn't have to have that. Like, I understand during the Wii U, but no, not no more. Like, we can do this. Like, there ain't nothing wrong with that. You can do 1080. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Let us choose, please. Thank you.
All right, people, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you to everybody in the chat for stopping through. We really appreciate it. Sandstorm, anything you want to pimp out?
I am not Shadow quite. Not
you
quite.
are. Not quite.
So yesterday we had our Stormcast talking about the whole Assassin's Creed situation, let's just call it that for lack of better words. And also talked about Sugar Entertainment. Noto came on, my other co-host, as well as Vito. So if you haven't watched that, go ahead and go back and check that out. It was a good conversation, good, healthy conversation. I feel like. And once again, if you watch it, I said it in there. All of the thoughts and ideas and everything that was being said during that conversation was solely my opinion, not the opinion of the people around me. So I just want to throw that out there. As well, Vicky did some trolling, so there was that. But we're on the road to 500 for our giveaway. So I think we're at 480 now. So if you have not gone over to the channel, we like to have fun. We talk about gaming. We talk about just anything that's like gaming related between the companies. Pretty much with the same stuff that you get on the Wingin podcast, just on a smaller scale. And we are moving towards that 500 mark. So go ahead and go over there and subscribe if you will. Got a couple of my moderators over here too as well. So today is Sunday. So if you have not subscribed to Andre or Jay or Jack Media Grounds or Shadow, go out and subscribe to all of them as well as Trey Vito and Noto Yuri. Make sure you subscribe to them. But we're here every Sunday at 7:00, and then usually on Monday, not tomorrow though, because that's Memorial Day. I'd be surprised if Juice decided to do that, but I highly doubt it. Is the Joe podcast, which I'm on as well. I'm not really heard as much. I feel I take it personal, but that's okay because when I have something to say, then I have something to say. But go over to the Joe podcast as well and check them out. We have a great time over there talking about gaming and stuff. And there's a lot of banter and back and forth and stuff like that. So it's always funny. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, Andre.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I had nothing this week, mostly because of technical difficulties that I have fixed. But yeah, I had nothing this week. But expect me to run my mouth a lot next week.
Gotcha. All right, so didn't have a fresh take today. Me and Vicky will be back on the first week in June because that's when Acolyte drops. So we'll be back then doing weekly reviews of Acolyte. I did go live Friday and just played some Ocarina of Time in all this 20 frames a second glory. And I did play a little bit. I said at the beginning of the podcast, me and Shadow Fox played some Killer Instinct on the anti-consumer Nintendo Switch Online. And we had a good time with it. So I'm thinking about maybe doing some more stuff like maybe on Saturday evening or Friday evening. Just if you guys are on our Discord, that'll be the way because we'll just be talking in there and just playing games on NSO or some other forum like that. Probably just start doing that on Friday nights, just to relax and unwind a little bit and just talk shop or whatever. So follow us over on our Discord, and you'll see whenever we plan to do anything like that. But other than that, we will see you guys again next Sunday. Don't forget, if you have not voted in the BIPOC Stream Awards, please do so. Go to the website, and we still got a little time in for round 2 closes. So please remember to vote for your favorite people in the BIPOC Stream Awards. And that'll pretty much do it for us. And we will see you guys next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out, people.
Peace.
Peace.